Well, here goes Ben and Jerry's vegan ice cream. Let's give it a go. I'm in trouble. What's going on, everyone? Jake Singer here, the Vegan Manly Man. So today I want to talk a little bit about why I went vegan. And I get this question all the time. You know, naturally, when people hear that you're vegan or you change your lifestyle in a dramatic way, people want to know, oh, what made you change, or what was the influence? So my vegan journey more or less started several years ago. Actually, I can actually take it back to even way before I was vegan. I started to get into healthier eating and organic and non-GMO foods. And I think that's what initially kind of gave me the spark to dive more into the depths of different information surrounding vegetarianism and veganism and not eating meat. So I kind of credit it to that. I did a lot of research on organic foods and GMOs and watched some documentaries. Food Inc. I'm sure a lot of you have seen that. I know it's a pretty popular one. That kind of got me to think more about, okay, where am I getting my animal products from? And from that point on, it was just more or less a gradual research thing. So one night I was just sitting and browsing through Netflix, and I happened to stumble across Forks Over Knives. And like I said, I was already into the healthy eating and organic, non-GMO aspect. So I said, okay, well, this looks like a good documentary just related to health. And at that time, I was also originally studying for my personal training certification, which I'm studying for now again, but I took a few years break in between to focus on potential music career. So anyway, I was into that as well. So that all kind of just added up for me to be interested in this documentary. So I watched Forks Over Knives, and it had a really profound impact on me, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna try to go vegetarian. I kind of saw it as a new health challenge, more or less. And I'm always looking to challenge myself and do new things that I haven't done before, go outside of my comfort zone. I've always kind of lived my life like that. So initially, I went vegetarian, and I didn't have too much information on it, pretty much just going off the documentary, and I started doing some information research online, and I failed. So I think I went, I can't remember now, it's been so long. I think I went 2, maybe 3 weeks without eating meat, and then I'm not sure what happened. I think I might have saw something like some chicken or something and got a craving, and I went back and so I started eating meat again. Well, me being me, I wasn't content with failure. So I think after a couple weeks, I tried it again. I made a promise to myself that, okay, you're actually gonna stick it out this time and see it through for enough of an amount of time to see what the effects are. So I didn't start off vegetarian. I started off pescatarian, which means I was still eating fish, I was eating eggs, and I was eating dairy, but no meat. I didn't have any chicken, didn't have any beef, pork, nothing like that. So of course that was pretty manageable for me to do, and a lot of people that I have seen transitioning do that. They just cut out the meat first, which is great. That's a great step. I mean, obviously that's what I did, and here I am now. So, and I was pescatarian for about 4 months. Well, in the meantime, I continued to research and find out more about the vegetarian, even though it's pescatarian lifestyle. I mean, that was more the goal. And I found myself on Facebook and ended up in some group pages related to vegetarianism and also vegan. And at the time, I had no idea what a vegan was. I was not familiar with the word. I didn't know that they existed, and this is how uneducated I was about the topic. So then all of a sudden I see this word vegan, and I'm just like, what the hell is a vegan? So I looked it up, and it was no meat, no eggs, no dairy, and no animal products. And I didn't even know the other aspects of it, like not wearing leather or not buying products tests on animals, etc. So I'm just like, wow, like that's crazy. That's like the epitome. So I wasn't focused on that yet. But what happened was I started seeing some really gruesome things in some of these vegetarian groups related to animals. And I had no clue about anything involving animal agriculture, slaughterhouses, the way the animals are raised. In my mind, animals lived happy on the pasture and they got killed. And I never thought about the way that they got killed. It just never even crossed my mind. And I think that these industries do a great job of hiding that fact and keeping everything behind the curtains. Because looking back now, I mean, I was so naive. I really was. I had no clue. And so when I started to see these things, obviously there was an emotional response or trigger that happened in my mind that said, what is this? What's going on? How can this be possible? So it really was an emotional experience because I had never seen this before. I had no idea what it was, and all of a sudden, boom, it was in front of me, and it was just like somebody opened a whole new door to a different realm. And I'm thinking to myself, what's going on? And so of course I dug deeper and I dug deeper, and eventually I posted, and at this point I think I had given up the fish and the seafood once I kind of saw more of the animal stuff. So I guess at this point I was vegetarian, but I wasn't even quite thinking of vegan yet. So I went on and I posted in a group and I said, what are some good documentaries for vegetarianism? Because I wanted to learn more. And since Forks Over Knives had kind of triggered that first initial change, I wanted to see and find more information that would maybe spiral me into even deeper level of understanding. So people gave me some suggestions, and one of them was Earthlings. And I liked the title, Earthlings. Sounded okay. Like, yeah, sounds like it would be interesting. So I popped that in. Well, not popped it in. I went on earthlings.com and watched it. And that was definitely the turning point for me in my vegan journey. Earthlings is what started everything. It was such a deep, resonating, emotional feeling that I got from watching this film. I had so much empathy after I saw it. I felt so much pain for these poor beings that were suffering on such a great level. And then I thought about how everything that I had seen still goes on every day, and I was just seeing a glimpse of it. And I was overwhelmed because I couldn't believe that this was even allowed. And it's one of those times in your life where it's just like it's a aha moment, and you kind of realize, like, okay, things are gonna change. and boy did they. At that point, after seeing Earthlings, I switched to organic eggs and dairy, because I still hadn't quite given that up yet. And I thought I was, still doing a good service by thinking that I was doing right by the animals by being organic. I thought they were treated well. So, eventually I stumbled upon more videos on the egg and specifically the dairy industry. And I just made the decision that after seeing what I saw, like, regardless if it was organic or not, or even if they treat it better, I made the decision that animals are not here for me and for my pleasure and for my profit. they should not be exploited for somebody else when it's not needed. Because at that point, I had a pretty good grasp of knowing that, okay, this is a healthy, sustainable lifestyle, and you don't need these products. So it was on November 23rd, 2012. It was the day after Thanksgiving, actually, ironically enough, even though I didn't have meat. I committed myself to veganism, and I haven't looked back since. And that's been a little over 3 years, and it's been a ride. It's been a journey. There's been some hard times, and there's been amazing times, and I feel like I have found my life purpose is to spread this message and to have other people experience and understand what I did, because I think it's so profound, and I think it's such a hard but necessary truth that people need to see. And I know not everyone's going to change at the same rate, or maybe if they see it, but I think that so many people are in the dark and so uneducated about it that they just never have a chance. And there's also that whole, well, most people don't want to know. But, you know, I've kind of shifted my focus more on getting people interested in the other aspects of environmental and health and just positive energy. And, you know, because if you can get people interested in one aspect, then eventually you can show them the others and they'll be more open to receiving it. But if I just say, hey, watch this horrible documentary where animals get slaughtered, no one's going to want to watch that. I mean, that's pretty much common sense. Of course no one's going to want to watch that. But if we can get people interested in some of the other aspects, and then their mind is more open, and then they say, oh wow, I never knew this side of it. And then it all starts to resonate. And then when you put everything together, it just makes sense. So there's this saying that more or less goes, vegans are like adults. You never believe they're right until you become one. So you think about when you're a kid and adults tell you can't do something, this and that. You're just like, oh man, I hate adults. Like, I hate grown-ups. I just want to do what I want. And then you become an adult and you're just like, oh, okay, I get it. And I think that's the same thing. Because I really was in the same mentality too. I'm sure I made tons of but bacon and I could never give up meat and statements like that, you know, when I was eating a standard American diet. And I get it. It's a huge lifestyle change. I mean, to say it's not is, you know, it's my life has completely changed. And not just from what I eat. Obviously, I touched briefly on, you know, not buying products tested on animals, not wearing leather, and more of that came with more research and more time and knowing, you know, more about like the circus and zoos and how these animals are still being exploited. But besides all of that, I mean, just spiritually, I've gained just a deeper understanding for all living things, for the earth, for nature. My inner peace is so much more calm. Obviously, I have a clean conscience, and it's made me a better person all around. I find myself helping other people and doing random acts of kindness and just trying to make the world a better place. And it's really opened new pathways of thinking for me. Even though I was a spiritual person before, not necessarily religious, it's on a deeper level now. And obviously that's a big part of it. I talked to a lot of vegans who say the same thing, that, oh yeah, I'm a completely different person. I think this way now over how I used to. So there's definitely different aspects of it. And physically, I feel great. I've been working out consistently for about 2 years now, and I'm definitely in the best shape of my life, and I have the most muscle that I've ever had. So that's definitely a plus side. And then environmentally, I mean, even more learning from that came later down my vegan journey. And especially now it's coming kind of more into the light with documentaries like Cowspiracy, on Netflix and people are understanding how bad the animal agriculture industry is for the planet and how we desperately need to make changes because we are running out of time. 1 acre per second of the Amazon rainforest is cut down for cattle grazing. 1 acre per second. Very sobering stuff. So, it's so much information. It's tons of information, and when people ask me how they can make changes, I get them gradually going. And progress, not perfection. You have a lot of vegans who say you have to do it all at once. You have to go overnight. Yada yada yada, and they just don't understand. They forget where they came from, because this is a huge deal. Regardless of how wrong something is, when you are taught your whole life to believe it's right, and you're born into this society where it's so socially acceptable that it's just considered normal, it takes time. So don't ever feel bad if you're trying to transition into this vegan lifestyle. Don't feel bad if you're just doing little steps at a time, and maybe some vegan somewhere told you, oh well, skip the bullshit and just do it all. No, take your time. It took me 6 months to transition to full vegan, and I'm still learning, and I'm still continuing to better myself. That's us as humans. We're always continuing to learn. Nobody is perfect, and that's what veganism is about. It's not about perfection. It's not about being perfect. It's about doing the best that you can with the means that you're given. And I always say progress, not perfection, because we can continually change ourselves and learn new ideas and new things to make ourselves better. But we're never going to be perfect. So that's more or less my vegan story. And I hope some of you guys can resonate with it, and I hope anyone who is thinking about going down this lifestyle can see kind of how things can progress and how they might be able to further along their journey. So if you are watching this and you're maybe a new vegan or you're someone interested in the lifestyle, I recommend doing a lot of self-education, a lot of self-research. Specifically watch some documentaries. Like I said, Earthlings, I believe it's no longer, if you go to earthlings.com, you have to pay for it. But if you go on YouTube, just search Earthlings full documentary. Netflix, be sure to watch Cowspiracy and Vegucated. It's a great one. And then of course, Forks Over Knives. But there's tons out there, and there's tons of videos, and there's tons of different ways to get yourself involved and to learn and to understand. And there's tons of groups on Facebook. Plant Strong Fitness is a great one. It's a group that I've been a part of for several months now. Just a very safe space and safe learning environment, non-judgmental. You can ask any questions. Obviously, yes, it's related to fitness, but it's related to veganism as well. So definitely check that out. Highly recommended. Fraser and Lauren, the people that run the page, are just they're great people, and they're so non-judgmental and just very supportive, and they create such a safe space for learning. So check that out. They have a page, they have a group, and comment on here. I mean, I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has, or find me on Facebook. I'm on Instagram under the Vegan Manly Man with underscores, and obviously Jake Singer on Facebook. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and looking forward to making more videos in the future. Bye.